It's sad to say, but news have it that the president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, he died in an helicopter crash with a lot of other officials like the foreign minister and a lot of other people aboard the helicopter. And they said was as a result of a hard landing. They said the weather was bad and and they were not able to continue the flight and they made a hard landing. And of course, that was a crash. And when the crash happened, maybe they could have been saved. From all the analysis that we have seen, possibly they could have been saved, but the rescue team could not reach the point of that crash. They couldn't find the point of the crash for several hours, almost 10-hour gap, before they were able to find the location of the helicopter crash. And this was as a result of bad weather. As reported by the news agencies, bad weather caused it. They couldn't locate where everything happened. So it took a lot of time. So possibly, assuming they were able to locate them, they might have been saved because according to report also, about 2 or 3 calls or 3 signals was received from that particular helicopter after the crash. So maybe someone tried to reach out or someone was actually reaching out to them or something like that, but signals were received around that area showing that something happened. After long search and everything, they've been able to get to them and realize that, oh, no one survived it. So now the president of Iran, President Ibrahim Raisi, has been declared dead. So, however, there has been chaos everywhere. People saying, okay, what is going to happen to Iran now? Remember that this guy has been at the forefront of, the war with Israel and the rest of them. He has had his iron fingers trying to, make dictations and everything. A lot of people have actually accused him of being a murderer, doing, murdering, terror, and a lot of things like that. A lot of bad things associated with him, which I can't confirm because I don't live in Iran. But what we see online, we see that this guy is trying to, hold the integrity and the sovereignty of his nation and try to push and make sure that things are working right for them. There have been a lot of conspiracy theories that helicopter could have been shot down because someone actually said something, someone posted something online about the US plane landing somewhere there, and the US plane don't normally come to that area. So, and it landed a few days back, and then this is happening. So, most likely, there was a shutdown. It didn't just fall, it was shut down. And also, there have been other speculations, which I will be talking about. And this one is about a guy that actually tried to check the weather condition. Because of this weather thing, the search and rescue team were not able to get to them on time. So, someone took his time out to check the weather. Okay, let's know what is happening, what actually happened, how was the weather around that area within that period. But guess what? The guy checked it and realized that the weather for 19th, which, was the day that everything happened, was actually not on a database. This is a database that contains the weather of the Middle East and everywhere. You can go and check back, okay, for so and so day, what was the weather like for so and so day. Now, this guy checked from the 17th, saw the weather mapping for that area where everything happened. 18th saw it, and then to check for 19 was not on the database. The next thing you see after 18 is 20. Now, this raised a lot of suspicion. Be like, how come 19 is not there? If this database has held the data of all the weather conditions for the past years, and then suddenly something happened on the 19th, and then now we can't find any database, we can't find any info, no data for what happened on the 19th. So it shows that someone somewhere is trying to manipulate the evidence, to show that maybe the weather was not that bad. And if someone was able to get that information, it would have caused a lot of uproar. So they removed it from the database. You can't really find out. If you don't know, if you are not there in that particular period, you can't say what the weather was. So anything they tell you, you have to take it because that is what they said. There's no evidence anywhere any longer. And this is happening for all the region, for all the UAE and the rest of them. All of a sudden, something that is always there and is still there till now. You can see for other days before 19, and then you can see from 20 upward. You can't see 19. What happened? How did it suddenly happen? There's no weather data for 19. So someone is actually hiding something from the public. However, going forward, you see that the president that lost his life in the crash is someone that has been actually giving the Western countries a run for their money. He's pushing the BRICS thing. He's at the forefront trying to, get out of the dollarization. Because of what the US is doing, they are suffering from a lot of sanctions. And there have been speculations that because of the sanctions that the US or the Western countries and Europe has placed on Iran, it has made it difficult for them to be able to get aircraft. So the ones they are using is more like they're just managing themselves. They can't really get new ones. They've gone to Boeing. Boeing didn't give them. They went to Airbus. Airbus didn't give them. They went to other European partners. They couldn't give them. And then Russia and China is still delaying. So there is a very big problem for them. There's a big gap for them when it comes to aircraft. So the ones they have are the old ones they have, and they can't even get parts because of the sanctions. Someone's saying something to the effect that they've even gone ahead to start producing some of the parts themselves, just so that they can be able to keep their aircraft running. And unfortunately, we know how these things go. Since they are still starting up, they might not get the exact spec as perfectly as the company or the OEMs would have done it. So that can lead to failure. So that could have been a possible point of failure that led to what happened, which we are not sure. These are all speculations. But this is to show you how sanctions, the US sanctions, is actually affecting countries. So when you see them giving sanctions, that is one of the big things that they have. They've been sanctioning Russia for like God knows when. But fortunately, Russia has been able to hold on. Russia has been able to stay strong and continue to survive. North Korea has been able to hold on. But Iran, Iran also have been able to hold on, but there are cracks everywhere. They are trying to pull out of that. The nuclear deal, trying to make a deal with the US, but they go front and they go back. They go front and they go back. But once they give up that nuclear that they have, that means there's no power again. There's no bargaining chip for them any longer. And they'll have to just agree to anything the West says. So they are very careful not to give up that. And as long as they're not giving up that particular thing that they have, which is the nuclear, as long as they're not giving it up, the sanctions will continue to fall on them. And it's going to continue to affect them. So unless Russia and China comes in to help, and fortunately, they've been building a good relationship with China, building a good relationship with Russia of late. So this happening now is going to set them back for a long while, because this president that just died had a very good relationship with Putin. So now we don't know who the next, of course we know who the next president is going to be. According to the Iranian constitution, when the president dies, the vice president, the first vice president takes over. So of course, the first vice president is going to take over. And the supreme ruler of Iran, the Ayatollah, said that within the next 50 days, they will conduct an election to get a new president. But we don't know who the president is going to be then. We don't know what his relationship is going to be with Russia. Is he going to continue where the former president left? Because if he doesn't continue, that means he might have to go back to the US and go and sign a deal. And once he signs a deal, he's going to sell out Iran. And once that happens, Iran power is going to drop. Because right now, take it or leave it, Iran might look small, but it's actually a very feared country around the Middle East. Iran is feared by the US, by everybody, because they know these guys are stubborn. They might not be that big, but because of the things they have, the nuclear they have, they are very stubborn and they continue to push forth. So we'll keep you updated on what happens and see. Let's see how the presidency, the election goes, and how the stability comes, or if it doesn't come, I hope it comes. And